The less blame and criticism in our words, the easier it is for someone else to hear us. And the more willingness there generally is to collaborate, to try to figure out what's going on between the two of us. And that process of shifting out of a narrative of blame is more about how we're thinking about things. That's where it begins. And then that's reflected in our words. The neat thing about this practice and the way our language works is that you can work on it from the other direction. So what I mean by that is, if you're giving lip service to language that isn't blaming, but in your mind and heart you're still blaming the other person, not going to go over well. However, if you're noticing blame in your words or your thinking, and you just start working with that, working with the way you're talking about it, it will translate back into your consciousness. Because the two create and inform each other. How we are relating to a situation is created by the words and the thoughts that we're using to think about it. So, some situations you might not be blaming someone at all. Your heart just isn't in that place. You have compassion for them, or you have understanding for them, and it's just not there. Another situation, you might be blaming someone in your heart, and then you can work backwards from the language to try to transform it. There's a wonderful story that comes out of one of the Buddhist traditions about this, where you're carrying groceries and you're walking to your apartment and someone bumps into you. And you drop your groceries on the floor and they spill and the eggs break, and your initial response is to be really angry. Like, what's wrong with you? Don't you see where I'm going? What are you doing, And then you look up and you see that the person's blind. Right? And what happens in that moment? All of the blame energy just dissolves, right? It's just not there anymore because you have new information. You understand the situation differently. You're connected with them. You see what's going on for them, and you understand the situation differently. Yeah. So we don't always have access to that perspective, to that information, but we can train ourselves to, number one, see the other person's humanity more and more. To remember that their actions, their choices are attempts to meet needs, just as much as our actions are attempts to meet our own needs. And we can start to actually look at the way we're thinking about things, the way we're structuring the story we're telling ourselves in our mind and the words that we're using to start to shift out of that.